Welcome to Earth's Mightiest Weirdos. Let's get all the names in the right places. We have one first-timer and a couple of returning. Let's start in the top right corner. Sarah from the Nerd Emporium. Sarah, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back. And Jaylynn returning, I think, for the second time, maybe guest posted on the Hot Take-a-thon, I believe, as well. So
2.5.
2.5 times. Jaylynn, welcome back to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
And Ryan down in the bottom corner. For those that don't get the joke, Ryan does not like alligators or crocodile. Is it alligators and crocodiles or just alligators?
They're all in the same family. They're all equally hated by me.
He shared that vulnerability long before Alligator Loki ever came along, but alas, Alligator Loki has graced us with his presence. Welcome to the show, Ryan. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about some Hawkeye.
Oh man, it's so good. I like it a lot. We'll talk about Hawkeye here in a little bit, but first, just like every week, we've got the world according to Jax. Hey Jax.
Hey Dad.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. What are we doing on Friday night at 6:00?
Watching Spider-Man.
Spider-Man No Way Home. Are you excited?
Yes.
Yes. What are you so excited about?
The whole movie.
The whole movie. Okay. We watched the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies over the weekend. I think that was the first time you've ever seen them, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of them?
I like them.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Who was creepy? The creepiest. You didn't really like the lizard guy, right? Yeah, he was a little creepy, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Ryan liked him either, like, in all honesty. So we're going to see Spider-Man Friday night at 6. That'll be my 4th time through, so that'll work out pretty good for everybody. And then what did you think of Hawkeye last week?
I really liked the episode.
Yeah. What was your favorite part? You liked when Yelena showed up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yelena's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is she a good guy or a bad guy?
They think she's a bad guy, but she's pretty much a good guy.
You think they'll get that straightened out?
Yeah.
Do you think she's going to kill Clint? No, that'd be bad, right?
Yeah.
All right. Are you excited for this week's Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think is Maya's uncle? Any guesses?
No, I don't have any guesses.
Probably Wilson Fisk. Kingpin.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, buddy.
Welcome, Dad.
All right. Make sure you close the door, okay? Thanks. All right. That is the world according to Jax. He really liked Yelena Belova when she popped up on screen, but he clearly forgot about that. By the time he got to this part of the episode. But anyway, that was the world according to Jax. We're going to jump into our newest segment of This Week in Marvel. Unfortunately, Christine Everhart is not available, so we will be stepping in her place. First news out of New York City. A man and his girlfriend invaded the ice at Madison Square Garden. And he got on one knee, and I don't know what he was doing there. Ryan, can you put us on the scene, please?
Yes. So it was a Friday night post-game New York Rangers victory. And I proposed to my longtime girlfriend, Justine, and she said yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations to my friend Ryan and my better friend, Justine. That is such good news. Congratulations, Justine, and congratulations, Ryan. That's fantastic. We're very happy for you. In other news in New York City, they had a Daily Bugle pop-up site. Sarah, did you see this Daily Bugle pop-up site that they had in New York?
No,
They were selling. I don't have the picture with me. I should have had it loaded, but they were selling faux copies of the Daily Bugle talking about the Spider Menace in town. And we have a friend, Kevin, who's been on the show multiple times that was going to try to head over there, but I don't know if he ever did. But I'm looking for that newspaper in the mail, Kevin, which I don't think I've ever said I'm waiting on a newspaper in my entire life to say that. And then there's really nothing else in the world of Marvel. Is there anything that I'm missing? We've talked Daredevil casting. We know that that's all good to go. We've talked Tom Holland's next trilogy, which we hope is he's going to sign on for. But unless I'm missing anything else, I think it's time to start talking Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, let's do it. Jaylynn, I know you're super stoked to start talking Hawkeye. So overall, coming into episode 4, how much have you enjoyed this show? Is it, I mean, your favorite Disney Plus show, I think like Kara is Falcon and Winter Soldier, correct? Oh, you got it on the shirt. Perfect. I guess I should have realized that. Is this Falcon and Winter Soldier level for you?
Yes, it
Better?
is up there. Depending on how this series ends, I will let you know if it's better. If it has a good outcome, it will be my number one. If
So
it
you
does
want-
not
so
have a
you
good
want
outcome,
You want Clint to die?
no.
Oh, right. Okay.
Not at Christmas time.
No, not at Christmas time. Sarah, how are you enjoying Hawkeye?
I'm enjoying Hawkeye. I think for these series, I think every series so far, the shows get better and better with every episode. And same with Hawkeye. I'm liking it more and more with every episode. Really excited about this coming week.
What is your favorite Disney Plus series so far?
So far, Loki,
Okay.
which was a surprise for me. I didn't expect that.
And Ryan, what were your thoughts of Hawkeye coming into this 4th episode?
Coming into this 4th episode, I have been really enjoying it. I think I was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to like it very much because, like most people, Hawkeye was near the bottom of my list of the original 6 Avengers. But right now, I would probably place it number 2 after WandaVision for me. So
I think it's 3rd on my list currently. That's just how good of Disney Plus we've gotten this year. Like Hawkeye is legitimately great. I really, really like it. But for me, it's WandaVision. And I don't see anything overtaking that show. I loved that show so much. And then Loki was fantastic. Falcon and Winter Soldier, like I just wanted a little bit more from it, but I think we're going to get that more from it. But I would have loved to see how it would have been having not been impacted by the pandemic in the manner in which it was. So, well, let's get into talking about this 4th episode of Hawkeye. If you watched Earth's Mightiest Weirdos or listened to Earth's Mightiest Weirdos last week, you heard me say what Jack's reaction was going to be to seeing that he had pulled a sword on Clint Barton. I nailed it. I'm very proud of myself for that one. Jack's just kind of a doofus, like for lack of a better term. Jaylynn, I think I'm willing to say I'm willing to die on Jack Devereaux Hill. Are you with me?
Yeah, he definitely come around. That first episode, I thought he was up to something. He was a bad guy. He's the one who killed his uncle. But now he's just too goofy to have like a master plan or something. So I'm with you that he's just too goofy to be a bad guy.
I love him. I love him with all my heart. Sarah, are you on the same board or on the same boat?
Yes, he is goofy. I think he's just a touch creepy. But I do like him. I think the actor is fantastic.
Yeah, Tony Dalton is the actor there. He's great. I don't know him from really much anything else, but he's a lot of fun. Ryan, Jack Devereaux, are you in? Are you out? Do you just not care?
I think it's Duquesne.
Oh, Duquesne, you're right. I keep saying Devereaux, and Jack Devereaux is a person I
French.
know in real life. Hi, Jack.
I think that, he's definitely goofy. He's definitely not the brightest, or so it seems, but I think that this might just be a front to, lower some suspicions from some people. I think there is something more to it. I mean, he is the alleged CEO of the Sloan company.
Well, yeah,
So,
alleged being the key word there. But I have a question for you, Ryan. Does absence make the heart grow older?
I believe it's supposed to be fonder, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. He seems like just an odd guy. So I don't know.
He's just a bit of a doofus, and he's my doofus. I love him. You know who I don't love is his fiance. Sarah, what is Kate's mom up to, Eleanor?
So it's funny you say he's allegedly the CEO of Sloan Security, Sloan Industries.
Sloan Limited, I think is all they've called it at this time.
I think Eleanor, Kate's mom, is maybe up to a little something behind the scenes. Jack seems just a little bit aloof. It raised my suspicions when she specifically asked Clint before he got on the elevator to leave their apartment. She asked him not to leave Kate alone, but she asked him to drop the case, which I thought was interesting.
Right.
So I think she's got a little something going on.
Then she places a phone call immediately after,
Yes.
whom we assume would be Maya's uncle. We don't know for sure, but we assume that to be the case. Yes. Jaylynn and Sarah, don't think we're not going to come back to you on Eleanor here in a minute. Jaylynn, what do you make of Eleanor? You've despised her from the very beginning. So I mean, we figured that one out, just like we figured out that Tyler Hayward was a terrorist pretty early. But I mean, she's just got no good kind of written all over.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's actually the CEO and is just using Jack's name.
I agree with that.
Yeah, just so if anything goes wrong, he's the one that gets caught and gets in trouble. But I think it's actually her. And if it's not her, either way, I don't like her. She's not a good mom. So she is not good in my book. And I will not support her in any ways.
Mark says she's collected all that life insurance from her very alive husband. I think he's legit. I think she killed him.
I think
she killed him.
I think so.
Well, it took her forever to get to her daughter. Like, if your house is falling apart and there's aliens outside and you're just taking 5 minutes to find your kid, like, what are you doing?
Or that's just how big their house is. That's part of it.
Could be.
I can't get over Clint, like, just oogling over the house. I've been neglecting the comments, so let's go back through them. Let's show everybody that's here. Dwayne says I'm the best. I appreciate that. I might have to pop that one up again later on. Katie's here. Justin is here. Alex is here. So thank you so much, everybody, for popping in. Many congratulations from the group to Ryan there. He's now piecing together why Ryan won the Alligator Loki Award. He's catching up now. He's kind of meeting Ryan. So I think he's dead. Ryan, do you think Kate's dad is dead?
Oh, well, first, thank you everyone who's congratulating me in the comments. Appreciate that. I believe her dad is dead. Whether he was actually killed in the attack or their mom or Kate's mom killed him, he's definitely dead. I may come back to eat those words in 2 episodes or so, but yeah, I believe he's dead. I don't see any reason why he would have to be brought back. There's many other players in this story. So it would seem like a weird thing to just kind of bring him back at this point.
Jessica doesn't like the fiance. Main Mudrunner says, how fun would it be if that's Echo's uncle instead of Kingpin? That was a giant black suit with a giant fat hand pinching Maya's cheek. I wouldn't think that would have been Kate's dad, but that would be interesting at the very least. I like that. What if she's working for Val or Sharon Carter? I think Val is technically on the right side of things, even though she's not exactly, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Ethical? Or is that the word I'm looking for? I think Val's doing the dirty work for the government. I think Val's on the right side of things. So I do not think it's Val. Sharon Carter is the power broker. I'm just not that interested. Sarah, go ahead.
I was thinking, if it is Sharon Carter, power broker, there would be ties to Madripoor. And who also has ties to Madripoor is Madame Mask, who we've all been wondering about for Ellen.
We will come back to Madame Mask in just a second after I show the correction from David Ronan that we are not supposed to call her. Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Don't call her Val. Valentina. I mean, Yelena gets away with it. Calls her Valentina, at least, at the end of Black Widow. But regardless. Sarah, who is Madame Mask, and do you think that's who Eleanor is?
I think Vera Farmiga is too good of an actress to just throw her away like that. I think she's going to end up being antagonistic, whether it's Madame Mask or if they do another gender flip and make her the swordswoman. I think she's going to be Bad News Bears. Madame Mask she's an older character. Stan Lee and Gene Colan created her. She came from the same Tales of Suspense series that Black Widow did. Fun fact. And she's been in Hawkeye. She was in the Matt Fraction Hawkeye run. She's been in Black Widow runs. But she's an underground, dark villain lady, super rich. I think her family is like royalty, or she's a count or a countess. Anyway, but yeah, the pieces seem to fit, I think, for Eleanor.
We'll get back to. I just want to have the conversation now. We're not going full sequentially through the episode. Ryan, does this show have too many villains for you? I mean, at this point, we've got the swordsman, we've got Madame Mask potentially. We've at least got Eleanor, who's not fighting for it. We've got the tracksuit mafia and all the wonderful bros that are within the tracksuit mafia. We've got Kazi, we've got Maya, we've got Maya's uncle. We've got Ronan. Ronan is a villain in this series. Are there too many villains, Ryan?
Yes and no. I think it makes it a bit more complicated to focus on one specific villain's arc. If you think about things we've gotten in the past, like Infinity War and Endgame, where you focused on Thanos' arc so beautifully over 2 films, that's focusing on one villain. But now you have so many, but it's progressing the story at the same time, because you moving from one to another and you're not sticking with one. Because if tracksuit mafia, they're not that interesting. I mean, they're just a bunch of guys in tracksuits.
I beg to differ.
It's a bunch of guys just saying bro in tracksuits. That's gonna get old after 6 episodes. So I don't know. I think it's interesting what they're doing.
Try me. Jaylynn, too many villains?
I mean, you know me, I like the bad guys for the most part. So you can never have too many villains. I think a lot of these villains are going to turn out not to be villains. And so it's just going to do a flip where now it's all good guys and not the bad guys.
Really? I mean, I think Jack's not like a villain, but I absolutely believe Maya's not a villain. Kazi very well still could remain as such. Yeah, Maya's not a villain, but I think Maya's uncle is a big villain, we assume. I think Madame Mask, I think Vera Farmiga's fantastic. I would love her to stick around. I think she's pretty villainous. I'm interested to see where they go with it. Sarah, before I give my kind of 2 cents, do you think that there's too many villains for a 6-episode arc?
I think that they are establishing a lot for. I mean, the thing about Phase 4 that they were always gonna not struggle with, but the challenge is establishing the next Thanos, the next thing, the next struggle. I don't think there's too many villains. I think they did a good job establishing that Ronan made a lot of enemies. And so the stakes are really high. But yes, it's ambitious. I will say that.
We don't have the time right now to break down what Ryan talked about with Thanos really being the protagonist of Infinity War, but I would love to get back to talk about that being Thanos' story at some point when we don't have a new episode to talk about. I, at this point, do not personally believe there are too many villains. I think the way that they are walking it, they're building up. We forgot Yelena, by the way, villain, at least in as far as this show goes. Not a villain because we know more, but I don't think there's too many. But if you try, I say that not knowing what's in these final 2 episodes. I trust Matt Fraction is a consulting producer. I trust Kevin Feige to work with the directing team to be able to wrap up the story in the manner in which they do, setting things up for the future and not trying to resolve every single villain's involvement in the MCU with this story. I think that's the thing. I think we will get Kingpin next week, and I think we're only going to be simply introduced to him for him to come in the future. I don't think we're going to resolve anything with that character within these final 2 episodes. I don't think that we're going to resolve much more than the Ronin part of his life and turning Maya to the right side of things. The confrontation between Maya and Kazi, I'm very, very interested in, because I do think that that's coming. Kazi, played by Fra Fee, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's awesome. Like he's really that scene in the car of can I at least have my gun back? Like
and then he throws the gun.
and just throws it and he's like, oh man, like this is it was so funny. But I really, really like him as that character. And it took me till this week to like full blown come around on him, but I believe he's the character called the Clown. Is that correct? And he's part of the Tracksuit Mafia in the Matt Fraction run as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And Frothy, quick cheers to my theater friends. Frothy is a musical theater dude. So
there you go. There you go. Well, let's get into, for me, what was the most emotional part of the episode. Kate knows that Clint needs somebody at Christmas time. It's movie marathon night. She needs somebody, and they get to talking. And side note, the funniest thing of this entire show is that Clint keeps like tending to his wounds, and the second he like sits down, somebody rings the doorbell and he has to get up. It's so funny to me. But I'm going to play a bit of a lengthy clip, and we're going to talk about this for the next little bit because we get a little emotional introspection from Clint Barton when he's talking to Kate Bishop.
Everybody dealt with the blip in their own way. I continued doing what I was trained to do.
Protect people.
Hurting people. Investigating first, but in the end, my job has always been to hurt people.
You were a hero.
I was a weapon. It was aimed by the right people, the right targets.
I'm so glad we did not spend the next 3 episodes, 2.5 episodes of Kate not putting the puzzle together that Clint was Ronin, because it just made too much sense from him being so interested in the suit. I think she actually figured it out pretty early on and just now finally got to the level where she was comfortable confronting him about it. And Clint's response is everybody dealt with the blip in their own way. He sees himself as a weapon. Jaylynn, should he see himself as a weapon?
I mean,
probably.
I guess. There's so much I loved about that scene. One thing I love a lot about this show is just how seamless it can transition from like laughter to like crying. Like you went from laughing at them decorating the tree and whatnot to like, oh, now he's
the dry erase marker,
right? And just that like little speech he gave, it reminded me a lot of Bucky and how he felt being the Winter Soldier, how being used as like a weapon to hurt people. That's the vibe I got. But I also loved how Kate didn't judge him for it, just like Natasha didn't judge him for it. And I think that's going to play a big factor into him accepting Kate as like his partner.
Sarah, what did you make of this scene?
We have never really gotten to see that much of Clint's spy background. So I really appreciated the emotional, like the window into his feelings about it. And then just hearing him talk about Natasha, Natasha is my absolute favorite, and losing her was really, really difficult. And I had a hard time with it not being Hawkeye that sacrificed himself because of what he'd done. And so hearing him, unpack what her sacrifice means to him now in light of everything that he's done, I think it holds an emotional weight to it that I've been waiting for. I think it was kind of cathartic, I think, for him and for me as a viewer and Natasha fan. So
yeah, I was you beat me to it. I was going to ask you does it help you kind of process everything that happened with Natasha, and the musical, shout out to the musical scores in this episode, especially when Kate is hanging off the side of the building when they're fighting Elena, and it is the music from Vormir. I'm sure that hit Sarah harder than just about anybody. Ryan, he says he views himself as just simply being aimed by the right people for the right reasons. Is he right? Is he wrong? What did you make of this?
I think that he has a background, and he can't run away from it. I mean, clearly there's people who want the Ronin, but he's trying to make resolve for that and deal with that. So I think that he's obviously being targeted, and he was in this position. He was vulnerable. He didn't have his family, and he wasn't talking to Natasha at the time when he was the Ronin. So he did what he had to do to help himself survive and cope. But now it's interesting to see how he is opening up to Kate, kind of, because I think this is the first person since Natasha that he feels comfortable enough with to share his feelings. Obviously, he has his wife and his family, but they're not superheroes. They're not out there fighting the battles. So it's nice to have somebody who's out there fighting the battles with him, who understands things, maybe not an Avengers level fight, but still, doing the work in the streets.
Yeah, this scene had a lot of emotion behind it, and it feels like Clint was a main character in Black Widow, even though he never showed up in that film because he was referenced so often. And then you don't think that much about it when you're going through the show, and then she says, "What is the best shot you ever took?" And he says, "It's the one I didn't take." And he immediately regrets what he said. He doesn't want to have that discussion because he knows how emotional it's going to make him. But going through that, everything with Natasha, how much she meant to him, and then Kate finally getting the nerve to say, "You were Ronin," and not passing judgment there. I think he's passing more judgment upon himself than she is, almost certainly at this point in time. And for him to try and come to grips with who he was, not only as Ronin, I think he was ashamed of how he dealt with the blip to an extent, and not everything he did was wrong necessarily. It was bad. I don't know how much time we're going to have in these final 2 episodes to explore any more of his past as Ronin. I feel like we've kind of reached the end of it at this point in time with the Tracksuit Mafia and his involvement there, killing Maya's dad specifically. But I really don't know what my thoughts are of this scene, other than I can sympathize with it, or I can empathize with it. I guess I don't really know what it feels like to be a weapon. I can barely get out of bed in the morning, but it's very, very interesting. And Jeremy Renner acted his butt off in this scene. And it's just that emotion comes through. The music is perfect. They want you to feel a certain way, and it worked. But something we skipped over, and Sarah, I know this is straight out of the comic books. They're bonding and they're snapping quarters from across the apartment. Just cool, right?
Yes, super cool. It's I'm pretty sure it's a trick his brother taught him when they were kids. But they were carnies when they were kids, and so they learned a bunch of just silly little tricks like that, magic tricks, things like that. But I think that this is going to come into play later. I'm not sure how, but I think we're going to see the snap again.
Yes. Yes. You don't introduce that in that manner without Kate coming to save the day somehow by snapping a coin into Kazi's face or something to that effect. David says what he loved about Clint's answer was about the shot that he didn't take is that it's teaching Kate to be thoughtful, not always think aggressively, along the same lines of him saying later that it's better to find the quickest way out, not the easiest way in. So he's always teaching. He's trying to do his best until he just wants her to go away. Mm-hmm. He finds out that this watch that we knew about from the first episode is something, and it's still somewhere. It's at 3615 Godfrey Street. We find out that is Maya Lopez's apartment. Jaylynn, do you have any theories as to whose watch this is or what this watch means to anything?
I mean, it's pointing towards that it has something to do with Laura. I don't know who she is or who she could be, but she obviously has some, some sort of skills or something to be able to, find out where this watch is at. And I mean, and knowing and being fine with knowing what Clint is doing and just being comfortable with it. So she's obviously involved somehow. Who she could be, no idea, but if we get more Linda Cardellini, then I'm here for it. So if they keep her around, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, she's clearly former Shield or something to that effect. And shout out to David Rosen. I think he put that in our very first week's comments for Spidey's Weirdos. He kind of put that together a week before the rest of us did, I think. But Ryan, who do you think this watch belongs to? Do you have any theories there?
Well, I just want to say thank you for not making me give the address, because I would have said 3651 Godfrey Street.
You said it, not me.
But I haven't been able to figure out who this watch possibly belongs to. It's been the biggest mystery since trying to figure out what episode of WandaVision Mephisto was going to be in. Like, you can't figure it out. I'm stumped. But it clearly is important. He said it was somebody he used to work with, so that would make sense if it's someone at Shield. Yeah, I got nothing on who it belongs to except maybe a Shield person.
Sarah, do you think it belongs to somebody who we already know?
I don't know. The only Avenger or person that he's worked with, I think, that could afford a Rolex would be Tony. But I'm more inclined to think there is something in the watch. You know how you can hide something in it, or there might be data on it. I don't know. But in the comics, they go after
files are in the computer.
But in the comics, they go after a tape that has some incriminating video on it, and Kate and Clint have to go after this tape in Madripoor. So that kind of, to me, it felt similar to that, because I don't know why else he would need it back so badly enough to break into somebody's house for it, unless there's some sort of data or something on the watch. I'm clueless. I don't know.
If it's Tony Stark's watch, like, I do not look forward to the MCU people saying, "Oh, it always comes back to Stark." Like, if it's Tony's watch, like, I'm cool with it, but I don't know. Like, I can just anticipate what people complain about at this point. What if Laura used to be an agent that worked with Clint, got pregnant around the same time Clint met Nat? I mean, that makes as much sense as anything. I think she used to. I don't think the Clint and Nat thing was ever really romantic. I don't really feel like entertaining that. I think Laura. I'm just gonna say it. Sarah, did Laura go through a name change? Do you think her former name could potentially have the initials of BM?
As much as I would love to see
If you don't know who I'm talking about, that is Bobby Morse, aka Mockingbird.
Yes. As much as I would love to see Adrian Pelicki again as Mockingbird, I also do love Linda Cardellini. I'm not sure, like as part of witness protection or something.
Maybe.
That would make sense. I love the actress that played her on Shield. So
shout out to Friday Night Lights.
There's something to her.
Yeah, like in my head, like if she was Bobby Morse, like I think they would go. She had to change her name for protection purposes.
Yeah.
Rather than just not make Bobby Morse the Mockingbird. Like I don't think that's the route they would go. Ryan, as our second resident Angel or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, we'll eventually get Mockingbird in the MCU, I would think. Are you okay if it's Laura, or do you prefer them to hold off on that?
I'm okay if it's Laura. I mean, I've come to the sad conclusion that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will never be canon in the MCU, unfortunately.
Yay, finally.
It is still a great show that I really enjoyed, but it will never be canon in the MCU. So if they're going to put a Mockingbird in the MCU, I'm okay if they go this route or if they hold out. I mean, I have no strong feelings either way, but I do love that character, so I'm happy to get her as soon as we can.
Boomer and Stephanie, I think, are trying to give you some sort of way in that Coulson was a collector of vintage spy gear in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe the watch is Coulson's.
Ooh, like a vintage.
All right, I take it back. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon in the MCU.
There you go. The watch kind of matches the car.
It does.
Sarah or Jaylynn, you said you wanted to keep Linda Cardellini in the MCU as long as possible.
Mhm.
I don't know why you do this if Clint isn't sticking around. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense. You're not going to get Laura without Clint.
Mhm.
And I think Clint's done after this series. I don't think that means I think he's going to die. I don't think you let him live and kill Natasha to then have Clint go out in the very next project. I don't think, and I don't think Disney has the guts, or excuse me, Marvel Studios has the guts to kill him at Christmas. I hope they aren't going to do that, but I don't know why you do this you don't have Laura without Clint. And I'm very curious to the end game here.
Unless she becomes Mockingbird.
But then she leaves her family. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, if Clint retires, then he stays home with the kids, and Mockingbird goes out and does her thing. If he actually retires instead of playing 18, shooting 18.
Because I feel like Linda Cardellini has kind of gotten bigger in the years since Age of Ultron. So I feel like they're trying to capitalize on that a little bit, which is smart.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But again, I don't know. I don't know how you tell Clint's story and have Laura in it, unless, of course, Clint doesn't make it out alive. But I don't want to think about that.
Well, like Kara said before, she'll burn this place to the ground, and I will help her.
Yes.
So
and Mark from This Diz Life has also vowed his services as well. Well, let's get into the final part of the episode. We get who some of us knew it was coming by the tease from the previous week of who was wearing the night vision goggles, combined with Variety reports, Deadline reports from months ago that Florence Pugh was in this show. Sarah, Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova shows up on screen. That was really funny, where Kate's like, "Yeah, Maya's here. Yeah, I'm fighting Maya. Well, I'm fighting Maya. Who are you fighting?" I thought that was really good. Honestly, that scene was super, super busy. There was a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just I wish it happened in the daylight and I could see better. Maybe that's all that it was. But Sarah, was this scene really busy for you, or did it meet your expectations?
I thought for what it was, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was comical in the way that they were confused there at the beginning, like, wait, who are you fighting? But I want to shout out my mom, my sweet mom, real quick, because I was mum about it being Yelena. She loves all the Marvel shows, so we were watching it together, and she clocked Yelena's pose, the Black Widow pose. She did a pose, several. She did
such a poser.
And she was like, "Wait a second, that looked like. Did she just pose?" And I said, "Hey, I'm so proud of you."
Nice work.
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think this scene was super great. Ryan, what did you make of Yelena showing up on screen finally?
I was very excited. She was the highlight of the Black Widow movie for me, and seeing her here was great. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think that this fight altogether was equal, if not better, than the elevator fight in Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Feeling hot.
It's not even close.
I don't know. It was really good. Even the second and third time, it was really good.
Man, that is an absolute hot take. We will do in best fight scenes in the MCU at some point. Do you really like it then?
Yeah, I really loved this fight scene.
Wow.
I mean, you had 4 awesome characters, 2 of which, or all 3 of the 4 debuted this year, and I already love all of them. And they put them all together in a fight scene on a rooftop in New York City that I could probably go there and pick it out of a lineup. Like, it's awesome.
Again, shout out to Christoph Beck and the music team over there when Kate is dangling off and channeling the Vormir score. That was great. Jaylynn, Captain America Winter Soldier elevator scene. Is it closer to the bottom or the top?
I mean, this fight was really good. It's not better than the elevator fight scene, but it's up there for a fight scene. I mean, I really liked it. It was brutal and entertaining. So
when Yelena just punches Echo right in the nose.
Mhm. There's just so many little moments in this scene. Like I loved when she's holding the gun and pointing it towards Kate, and Clint just comes in between them. He's like, if you're gonna shoot me, basically. Like he's doing his best to protect her. And I said this before, he's a better parent to Kate than her own mom is. And then I love Yelena's little head shake when Kate is pointing the arrow to her. Like she's just like, nope, don't do it. You don't want to do it.
Something that really frustrates me is everything Natasha said to Yelena about Clint has zero effect on anything that Yelena's doing. Does that bother anybody else? I understand she's blinded by the fact that she's dead and she thinks she's dead because of Clint, but I feel like Clint deserves some sort of benefit of the doubt after everything that Natasha told her about Clint, instead of taking Val's opinion on that. Am I off base here?
No. I mean, maybe that's why she just jumped off the building instead of finishing whatever she went there to do.
And go ahead, Sarah.
Maybe she just went there to bag him, and take him somewhere to interrogate him, which would, I think, be more of the spy style. I don't know. I have trouble with that too.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the promos for this next episode, she's like happy-go-lucky. So obviously there's a quick turn. So, I mean, I don't know where the episode's going to pick off from, but
I'm trying to find it because we have credit where credit is due for one of our weirdos. And I can't remember who it is, so I will research it and find it. But I read a theory that we can reach this point where Clint and Yelena come to some sort of an understanding. She's an adopted part of the family, and she finally gets to experience a family Christmas out on the farm with the Barton family.
I think David said that.
I think it was David too as well. So David is on fire with this show so far. So if that happens, I am fully on board. But I love Haley Steinfeld in this role. But honestly, my favorite character from the show right now is Alakwa Cox's Echo.
Yes.
She's just so good. She's awesome. The silent alarm in the apartment, the second the light started blinking, I'm like, oh, this is not good, because I knew what those alarms were like right away. And we still got the blob trick arrows. Oh crap, we got to go back.
I was going to ask
the
you.
LARPers and Bombshell. Like we get the Bombshell call out. Sarah, who is Bombshell? Like, I don't think it's going to mean that much, but it was a cool comic book thing.
I
know her?
I don't know her. I have something to ask you about the trick arrows, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so they said there's no more trick arrows, and the arrows had Pym written on them. So was it Tony making the trick arrows for Pym, or was it Hank Pym, and Hank's not around anymore in 2023? Why are there no more trick arrows?
I just assume the Pym arrow to be the only one like it, and the trick arrows are being made by someone else. I wouldn't expect Pym Tech to be making all of the arrows. I suppose it's possible. I honestly haven't given the trick arrows much of a thought other than boomerang arrows. But
I thought it was interesting that he said there were no more.
Yeah. And then having to send in Bombshell to like Kate and the way she just brings in all of the LARPers. Like, you guys are dedicated. Like, I thought that was great. Ryan, what did you make of the LARPers and just all the trick arrows, and what Sarah had on do you have any thoughts on where the trick arrows are coming from or how they're going to get more?
Yeah. So with the arrows, I mean, I only saw the Pym logo on just the one that got big.
Yeah.
I didn't see it on all of them, but it is possible that Pym is making all of them. But he did say there's no more trick arrows, so that would lead me to believe what you're saying, that the person who's making them isn't around anymore. As for the LARPers, that was certain. I don't know how I feel about them in the show. I think it's a way to get some of the characters from the comics involved, like Grills and Bombshell and them. And they're helping him out, but I'm not sure there's much more to them. And I mean, they're fun. That's going to get him his costume, presumably. So,
right,
cool.
Let's go around the horn real quick. Jaylynn, have you ever performed, or have you ever been part of a live action role play?
Does the Josh fights count?
If
that's the closest. That's the closest thing.
There, and that is awesome.
That's the closest thing to LARPing I've witnessed in real life.
Sarah,
I have not. I've done tabletop games, but not
a little D&D.
Yeah.
The entire reason I asked the question is because I know the answer. Ryan, have you participated in a live action role play?
Okay. For reference, this was at the camp I used to go to as a kid, and it was we did not dress up. We only the actual act of using foam tubes and whatever to fight. Yes, thanks for
That's awesome.
He's the last one I would guess out of all four of us. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I know. I accused Kevin of it a couple of weeks ago, and Kevin's like, absolutely not. And then Ryan did divulge this information to me privately, and I took our conversation public. So, and it was worth it.
I feel bad for laughing then.
It's fine.
That's awesome, though.
No, it's free. That's so cool. That is so cool. Mark wants to have a Diz Life LARP event. I will absolutely take the lead in organizing said LARP event. I think that would be a lot of fun, but I called dibs on the Clink guy. I just get to stand off to the side and say Clink the entire time. Stephanie says she knows Clint is strong and can hold her off. They'll talk it through eventually. She's just taking out her anger. It shakes Clint to his core. He says this has just gotten extremely real. Does not even ask Kate for the watch back, which I mean, I think is just kind of an oversight. Like I think we're going to deal with the watch later on. But saying that somebody has sent a Black Widow assassin, she's not a Black Widow assassin. So he clearly doesn't know of the downfall of the Red Room, which is very interesting to me. By using the terminology of a Black Widow assassin, somebody has hired them. The entire Red Room has fallen at this point. Aren't we to believe that, Sarah?
Yes, this
like
is
there was several around the world, but they were supposed to be then kind of let free of their hold, basically.
The end credit scene of Black Widow looks like it's late fall, and this is Christmas time, so I assume it's like within a month. Yeah. So
the fact that word has not gotten out of the downfall of the Red Room is fairly interesting to me. I think that's honestly what I took most from this scene. But we'll go around the horn. Jaylynn, any last things that you want to hit on with this episode, or any wish lists for the final two episodes?
Well, a big wish list is I want Pizza Dog to have his heroic moment. I am waiting for that. I just need more of him. And
I told you when I asked you to be on this show that I would give you a chance to talk about Pizza Dog. And I failed you, and I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'll just talk about him on my own. It's okay. I'm okay bringing him up. But yes, I love Pizza Dog. The part when she comes over to the apartment for Christmas and the dog goes straight for the Cheez-Its. I'm like, those are my dogs. Like I just busted out laughing. Like those are my animals. So I'm all for Pizza Dog.
Any wish list items for the end of the show, other than he better live?
He better live. I'm ready for Kate and Yelena to become best friends. I think that would be a lot of fun. Kind of the new Nat and Clint.
I never even considered that as a possibility. That would be a lot of fun. Those two, man, I am in on that. It'd be like Pitch Perfect. Bryan, any wish list items? Any final things you want to hit on Hawkeye episode 4 before we wrap up?
I hope that we end up getting Kingpin, and I hope that if we do, it's Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, social media leads us to believe that may be the case, because he was great in Daredevil as Vincent D'Onofrio. There's no need to change it up. And I really liked the Christmas sweaters that Kate and Clint wore in the episode with the cat and the dog on them. That was fun. So.
There they are. If you're watching on YouTube
Yeah.
right now, the cat cracks me up. Like that really makes me laugh.
It looks like Grumpy Cat.
It really does. If Bert and Bertie, who are the directors of episodes 3, 4, and 5, are to be believed, they said whatever happens in episode 5 is going to light the Twitter sphere on fire, whatever that is. And I really don't know. Like, I don't think there's any possible way that it's timed so perfectly that there's any hint to Spider-Man No Way Home. But if you've seen the first minute of Spider-Man No Way Home that they put online, there is a cool call out that puts it within New York City at the same time as Hawkeye. I don't think it's going to be anything Spider-Man related. I do expect that to be Kingpin, and maybe what comes with that, I really don't know. But I think the challenge of we're going to light Twitter on fire will be interesting, if nothing else. Sarah, any wish list items or any final things that you want to get off your chest?
Did you want to say Daredevil, but you just didn't? Or you just think that it's Kingpin?
I don't see Charlie Cox fitting, or excuse me, I don't see Matt Murdock fitting into this show. I don't. I think it's if you put in Daredevil, I think it's just got to be him like disappearing into the shadows. I think there's too much going on that I think you could just simply even see his face on Kingpin's wall. Like, I don't think it would be much more than that.
And I don't think that we're gonna find out it's Matt Murdock yet. I have theories, but I do think I want Kingpin wish list. I want Kingpin, and Daredevil at some point. I didn't even consider it until I saw on Instagram there was somebody did like a fan art poster. I think it would be cool to get Daredevil, but that's I can keep dreaming.
Did you expect Hawkeye to be introducing the MCU's version of Hell's Kitchen? Because it seems like that's where we're headed.
Yeah, and that's that. I think that's what would be cool. I mean, we've got all the Kingpin ties. I think it would be interesting, and I think it's interesting timing with Kevin Feige's kind of out of the blue confirmation.
He didn't slip up. He didn't make it. Like, people are saying Kevin Feige slipped up by giving us this information. Absolutely not. He knew exactly what he was doing.
About Charlie Cox?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting timing.
So,
and I'm not sure. I love if they bring Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. I'm not sure it's enough to break Twitter. I think bringing both of them might. I think Charlie Cox might.
I think it would have, except for Vincent D'Onofrio constantly teasing it on his Twitter timeline. Go ahead, Ryan.
I just had a wild speculative thought. What if one or both of them get arrested at the end of this episode and they are in need of legal counsel, and a certain trio of Karen Page, Foggy Nelson, and Matt Murdock show up?
If you're going to give me Charlie Cox, then give me, I apologize again, I still don't know his name, Fulton Reed as Foggy Nelson. I really like him in that show. I like that show. I'm going to be honest, I haven't finished that show, but I like what I've seen of it. I need to go back and finish season 3. I have my suspicions on when we see Matt Murdock / Daredevil first. And I think we could see Matt Murdock this weekend in Spider-Man. I don't know if we would see Daredevil at that point, but I think we're going to see Charlie Cox pop up sometime soon. I do think we're going to get Kingpin as a full-blown character in this show. If we do get any sort of Daredevil in Hawkeye, I don't think he's a character. I think he's just a picture or something like that.
I think it would be a stepping stone into the next thing.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah, just like a lot of this show is
yeah.
going to be. That might burn down Twitter. I'm excited to burn down Twitter twice in 36 hours. 3 a.m. Wednesday morning, Hawkeye episode 5. 3 p.m. Thursday afternoon, Spider-Man No Way Home. And if you want to talk Spider-Man No Way Home, we are having Spider Sunday on this same YouTube channel that you are watching this on. We will not be showing this Spider Sunday feed on the Facebook because we don't want somebody to accidentally come across spoilers. It's a lot easier to stumble upon a video on Facebook than it is on YouTube, where you are intentionally being there. Alex Klein from Comics and Cinema, who's in the comments right now, and myself will be hanging out for as long as we have something to say, and as long as somebody is willing to watch us say it. We are going to be talking all things Spider-Man No Way Home. We will be welcoming in weirdos from all over the country for a few minutes here and there to discuss the movie with them. If you are interested in talking Spider-Man No Way Home, please let me know and come join us Sunday night, 7 o'clock, after you have seen Spider-Man No Way Home. We will also have that audio feed on multiple platforms of podcasts so you can catch up on Spider-Man No Way Home. Ryan, when are you seeing Spider-Man?
I will be seeing it on Friday night at 7:30, so I'll be a late one. Be seeing it,
buddy, you gotta go that long, huh?
Yeah, we're seeing it with a couple other weirdos, Kevin and Kara. So we'll be seeing it a little later.
I even if I was coming to New York to watch it, I would still see it Thursday at 3 and then just go again. Like, I will have seen it 3.5 times before you walk in it for the first time.
Yep, but I'm gonna go on my social media cleanse tomorrow and just delete everything. So
you're a kind friend. Yes, if you do not know, the premiere for Spider-Man No Way Home is in Los Angeles tonight. I believe the red carpet is happening right now. Things might get out because people are dumb. Be careful on social media if you do not want to be spoiled. Be careful if you do want to spoil it for other people. Go home and rethink your life and buy some death sticks, because you do not want to spoil this movie for other people, because you don't want this movie to be spoiled for you. I, like Ryan, will be going on a social media blackout until I have seen the movie. Sarah, when is Spider-Man No Way Home for you?
Thursday at 3:30, and then Friday and Saturday.
Perfect. Jaylynn?
I have tickets for Thursday at 3 p.m. by myself, and then Friday at 6 p.m. with my parents and my husband, and then Sunday again by myself. So 3 times.
Our advice to everybody in the comments is have zero expectations going into this film. Go in and take what Marvel Studios and Sony give us. But Sarah, if you have one wish list for Spider-Man No Way Home, what is it?
Like in any multiverse.
In any multiverse, you could have Jack Black as Thor if you want to.
I'll take that.
Some hint of live action Gwen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm all for that.
Or Jessica. I would be fine with either.
Is that Silk?
Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman.
Oh, Spider-Woman.
Because I know that's on Sony's list at some point. So if it
that's the Olivia Wilde project, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't realize Jessica was. I thought she was Silk for some reason. Ryan, one wish list thing for Spider-Man No Way Home you hope we see.
I hope Venom does not show up in this movie.
Good luck. Jaylynn.
I would love to have Jake Gyllenhaal back as Mysterio. I would love to see more of him.
As Mark would say, I don't hate it. Again, go in with no expectations. Be happy. You don't have to be happy with what they give you. I'm not saying that. You don't have to love everything they give you, but don't get mad that they don't give you something that you thought they should have. There's two very different things there. People all of a sudden hated WandaVision because they didn't give us Mephisto when we had Agatha all along and she was fantastic. It is a big week. We've got 2 Marvel Studios projects in the same week for the first time in a little while. Well, I guess we had What If and Shang-Chi, but that wasn't quite the same. We did have Loki and Black Widow together. That's what that felt like. So I can't wait to see Spider-Man No Way Home. We will see you Sunday night, 7 o'clock here on This Diz Life YouTube. We will be back next Monday night at 8:30 talking Hawkeye episode 5. But until then, for the children.